What's going on, everybody? It's Larry Lursey. Very excited about today's video. We're going to start a new series called Vacation Photo Rescue. And what this is I'm going to take an image that's just kind of your standard vacation picture that you took maybe with your phone or just a point and shoot, and you're at, a famous location or just something that's really pretty. You get a picture of it and you get back and it's just kind of so-so looking, and it doesn't have this kind of beautiful postcard quality to it or something. And what we're going to try to do is take a few of those images, work them through Luminar, and see what kind of things we can do to them to try and elevate them from kind of a blah image to more of a wow image. To make things interesting, I'm going to open it up to you. If you've got some images of your own that you'd like me to try out, send one of them to me. You can send it to vacationphotorescue@gmail.com. Just set up that email just for this. So send me an image or two and we'll try and pick out some for future videos and work on those. Should be interesting. Also, if you're looking for something else to do, take a second to subscribe. As you know, my goal for this year was to reach 1 billion subscribers. As you can see, we're still a little short of that. We're getting closer. Well, getting closer may not be the right description. We are moving in the right direction, and with your help, then I think we can get there in no time at all. If you don't have Luminar AI, there's a link down below in the description where you can check it out. I'll even give you a coupon code that you can use to get it at a discount if you end up liking the software. But we're going to put it through its paces today with this image that we're going to work on. I think it's going to be really exciting. Can't wait to get to it. So let's roll the intro. Alright, here we are in Photoshop, and here's the image we're going to use for our very first vacation photo rescue. It's a shot here in Paris, obviously, at the cathedral right there on the river. It looks like this was taken probably from the other side of the river with just a point and shoot camera. It's a little bit overexposed, just kind of a snapshot. It's an okay vacation picture. It shows the building, but I think we could certainly make it a lot better. So we're going to do our best, run it through Luminar AI, and see if we can turn this into a little more pleasing image. So first thing I'm going to do, of course, is make a copy of the layer so that we're not working on the original. I'm going to rename this just LUM for Luminar, and we'll go back and change that to a template name if we end up saving our own template. But for now, we'll just put Luminar. So I think we're ready to go. We'll come up here to Filter and jump into the software. Okay, here we go. We're in Luminar AI, and it's always tempting when you're first starting out here just to jump right into one of the templates, because there's probably a few of these that would look really cool. But we're going to try and do our own thing today and go into Edit and just do this thing manually. Now, when I look at an image like this, first thing I'm going to try to do is make a list of things that need to be fixed on it and then kind of prioritize them. I'll try and do the repair type things first and then the enhancement things next. And things that jump out at me, it's too bright. We need to bring that exposure down a little bit, which may also lead to us needing to do some dodging and burning. We've got these people here that are a little bit of a distraction with the red. Try and take them out. I think I could use some clouds. And then probably just overall tweaking of the image and trying to refine the color and the contrast and things like that to just give it as much impact as we can. So a lot to do here, and should be an adventure. Let's go ahead right off the bat, start with that exposure issue. So come up here to light, and I think we're okay color balance wise. It's just the exposure is off. So we're going to dial this down a little bit. And I'm mostly worried about this, getting this roof in check without blocking up too much of this. We can even play with the highlight slider a little bit. I think that's a lot better. So let's start with that. All right, next off, let's go through and get rid of these people here. I'm going to zoom in here with my little rotating dial on my tablet, see what I got here. Okay, we got these two people here, which wouldn't be terrible other than that red color there. So let's go to Erase right here. And we're going to get our little brush and just color them both in like that. Hit Erase. Perfect. They are gone. There's actually a couple people here too. Okay, great. That worked. We'll even try these people here. All I'm doing is just basically painting it, and I hit erase. I think that works. That was pretty easy. Zoom back out here. All right, so we've gotten rid of the people. We've brought down the exposure a little bit. Let's go ahead now, before we do too much tweaking, and get that sky added. So we're going to come down to Sky AI. And here is where it's just a whole bunch of trying different skies. We've got to decide if we want kind of a regular sky, something a little more dramatic, even like a sunset type thing. Not really crazy about a bunch of these. That one works okay. Some of these are going to be probably over the top like this. That's too much. Very dramatic, but I don't think for this image. I'm just kind of looking for a regular cloudy sky. I think that works pretty good. Let's go with that one. Oops. All right, so we've got the sky in place. We can play around with the orientation. I wouldn't mind moving it up just a hair. Kind of get those in line with the top of the building. I think that looks a little better. We would have reflections here in the water, but because of the angle and the crop, you're not really seeing any of that. It's too blurred out with the ripples. But you can look here under the reflection. We could actually turn it all the way up and see if there's anything there. Yeah, there's not really anything in the water, so we're not going to worry about that. Scenery lighting, this is where it's going through and adjusting the image to match the light, and you can see it's lightened our roof a little bit. Try this a little bit more. We're not really shifting the color too much, so I'm just going to kind of leave it here where it's on a little bit of saturation, but I don't think it's going to need too much of that. I think this one's pretty good to go, and you can see it's even done a good job dropping into these areas here with the masking. So it's done a nice job selecting the subject and dropping those clouds in behind. So I think we're good with the sky. There's the before, there's the after. I think we're going to need to bring the contrast of the sky down a little bit, but we will get to that. Let's go under sky adjustments and maybe just warm it just a touch. Like that. Okay, I think that's good for now. So let's come up, and next thing I'd like to go to is up here under Enhance. And we're going to just kind of move this accent over a little bit. And of course we've got a sky enhancer as well. You can see what that's doing. Really boosts it, which is a little too much. We don't want that much. I still want the sky to be kind of secondary in this show. So let's see how much we can pump up this building without it looking crazy. And I think that's pretty good right there. I'm happy with that. This might be a good time to go ahead and do a little, first I want to jump back into light. I'm going to try and bring this down, this exposure down just a little bit more. I feel like it's a little bit lighter. That's good. Then let's go down to dodge and burn and play around with that a little bit. And let's start with darken. We want a soft brush. Let's have that strength down more, about 20, 21. And just see some of these areas where we might want to darken things just a little. And it's going to be really easy to go too far with this. I'm going to do a little bit down here in this water. See, that's probably too much. So let's erase that out. Go back to our darken. We could use a little bit here on the edge. Let's just bring the strength down to, there's 11. Get the brush a little bit smaller. Maybe make another pass through here just to make sure we're getting that area darkened. And so here's our before and after. Much better, much more in range now. I think that looks good. Okay, so let's go back up here to the top so we don't miss anything. Let's take a look at structure. And structure kind of gives you a nice little, to me it looks like it's kind of a combination of giving you a little more contrast, a little more sharpness. Just kind of boost things overall. We're not going to do a ton, just like that. Then we will come down to landscape, And landscape's always a fun one because you can try the dehaze and it kind of makes this thing have a nice little snap. I was going to say we don't really need it on this one, but actually kind of works nicely. So I'm going to keep that. Golden hour, of course, is going to warm things up, and I think it goes way too far that way, but I like a little bit of it. And so if we, again, compare this before and after, it's just a little bit richer with that dehaze in the golden hour. Vignette. Choose our subject right here in the center, and then we're just going to slide this way to darken. And if you go too far, you can see. And always the thing with vignetting, much like retouching in Photoshop, is you want it to look, I want to go to the point where it looks like it's gone. Like right now I don't really see a vignette, but if we turn it off and on, you can see it. I might even come back a tiny bit. So there's our vignette. Easy enough. We've got atmosphere that we can play with, adding fog. I don't think in this situation we would want to do anything like that. I think we're kind of going the opposite direction, so we're leaving that out. Dramatic always helps. Now this, if you go too far with dramatic, it kind of gives it this weird look. So I always like to just add a little bit of the dramatic. And you lose saturation as you do this, so you come down to this second part and you can bring that saturation back if you want it. That definitely gives you a little more punch. You can see some of the detail it's bringing out with that dramatic. Now mood is always a tricky one where you can use these lookup tables. And what I will do sometimes with these is go ahead and just start scrolling through these, and I kind of like that one, but just kind of roll through and see if one jumps out at you. And I kind of like that Long Beach. Hit that, and then we'll probably fade it down a little bit. Okay, let's look at the before and after. I think that's good. You can, by the way, go up here and do this little side by side. Oh my God, look at where we've gone so far. Again, let's look at the before and after. There's the before and the after. I'm happy with that. Now, you do have the mystical thing, which this thing will add kind of, well, let me just boost it up here and show you what it does. It kind of gives it this kind of dreamlike look, as you can see there, which doesn't work for everything, but sometimes just adding a little of that, you know, we've done so much of this image that it's almost starting to look too contrasty. Bringing in a little of this mystical will kind of take that edge back off a little bit. Let's get it set in here and take a look at, there's the before and there's the after. Just got a little bit more glow to it, a little bit more softness. I think that works nicely. We don't need any of the portrait ones. I think right now we are looking pretty good. Now, one thing you could do is you could go back in with your dodge and burn and go ahead and try and start tweaking things and to some of your highlight areas. For example, we'll just do a little bit here. Go back to lighten, bring that strength down to like 10 even. Get a smaller brush. And you could just kind of come in to some of these areas that you wanted to give a little more snap to. Kind of like that. And go back to darken. Darken the shadow areas down a little bit. Just give it a little more. I might do another pass through this wall. You can try that water a tiny bit. I think that works pretty well. Now really the only thing we have left to do on this one is go into the super contrast. And so let's start with our highlights. Bring this, I like to go somewhere around 20 on this image. And then we'll kind of slide this back and forth and kind of decide what look we want. And again, we're looking at highlights, so we're looking at these highlight areas as we do this. Moving that way, you can see they get a lot lighter. Over here, they get darker. I kind of like a little more toward the dark side. Let's go to the midtones. I think we're kind of good there in the middle. Let's take a look at the shadows. This way versus that way. That's way too blocked up. I think maybe this way a tiny bit. I think that looks pretty good. All right, I am pretty happy with that. Let's go back over here to the compare tool. And there's the before and the after. Holy smokes, that is an incredible transformation. All right, I am very happy with that. I want to go ahead, in fact, and save this template down here. So I'm going to hit save, just like that. Then we come up to templates. It'll be here under my templates. See it right here. We're going to hit rename, and we'll call this Vacation Rescue. There we go. Now, if we have another image that has this kind of same look, we can jump right to that look. So we're happy with that. Let's go ahead and hit apply. There you have it. There's your before and your after, night and day. I think this one's so much better, and that's actually kind of a nice usable image. We could still go through and tweak things level-wise. I'd probably go back and either crop out this top part or just clone over it so I don't have that little cloud up there. So it could still use a few little cleanups, but overall, I think, especially compared to this, we've really taken it in a much nicer direction. So there you go. I think our first one was a huge success. From where we started to where we ended up, night and day. Didn't take that long at all, and we ended up with a much better image. Certainly some things that could be better. We could have spent a little more time in certain areas, but in the interest of getting through the video, we kind of moved through it rather quickly, but still, I think the results are fantastic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget, if you've got an image that you want to send in for a future episode of Vacation Photo Rescue, send it to vacationphotorescue@gmail.com. By the way, if you don't already have Luminar AI, or even you just want to add some of the skies or templates that they sell, you can use the discount code LarryPhoto and get a discount on the software. So that's all we have for this week. I hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Well, we're not really even getting closer, but we're moving in the right direction. So, we're not actually really even getting closer, but actually, we're not really even getting closer.